Hello everybody, Elijah Hicks again, and this night, while I'm making this video, I want to show you how I journal when I'm reading the Word of God. Now, journaling is something I know a lot of people are interested in doing. Um, of course, if you're like me, you will prefer the actual pen to paper kind of journaling. We have these digital ways of keeping things together, but it's something different about just writing things down, as a lot of people discover when they try to go full digital, and they like, okay, this isn't the same thing. But the process of writing it down also helps you, for me, in my opinion, to connect with what you're writing, to take more time to think about it, and it's not so quickly just put down, but you can spend that time of writing each word out and thinking about it as you go. Now, the approach that I take to journaling, and maybe this will be effective for you and help you, that's the point of the video. I will read I will start out, of course, with I will pick a book. Me personally, there's different ways that I do, journaling. But this particular way is when I pick a book and I go chapter by chapter. So I will take my book. I just use this small one that says "Notebook, keep it simple." Just use that, and in this. So let's say for this one, Genesis. So how I do it is, this is dedicated to Genesis. So mixing other books is not what I'm doing in here, because I intend on writing as much information as I can in this one particular book, instead of crowding it with other books and verses, even though this is probably still not enough for Genesis, obviously. And so I will start out verse by verse. Now, this is important for me because it helps me to slow down with each verse, ensuring that I understand the concept, the meaning, the definition, things like that. So the first step is to actually say I'm at chapter 1. I'll go verse by verse, chapter 1, verse 1. And I'll write in my words, what is that verse talking about? So I'll go verse by verse, writing what each verse talk about. Now, the way that I do it may be strict or tedious for a lot of people. But the reason why I do it this way, I would say, is because I would say I'm addicted to studying, because I just like to do it. I can study and write and learn, and I don't get tired. So I can go verse by verse. I can do the tedious work. And the tedious work is the thing that really helps me. And the reason why I am so tedious in this process is because when I do language learning, in order to become more fluent and speak well, being tedious or being picky about the things you're learning, like kind of try to grab every single thing, helps in increasing your fluency. So that's why I do that with the Bible, to become, in words, more fluent and understanding. So say I go chapter by chapter. Verse 1, I give the summary of that. Verse 1. Verse 2, I give the summary of that. Verse 3, I give the summary of that. Verse 4, I give the summary of that. All the way till I get to the end of the chapter. Once I finish doing that, I actually start over after I gave the summaries. Now, me going through it once gives me the idea of what the chapter is talking about. So now I go back through a second time, verse by verse, but not necessarily commenting on every verse, But instead, this time it will be asking questions. So as I go through, I ask questions and I write certain comments on almost every verse. For example, now as I go through the second time, I write things like this. Say verse 5. I put light and then equals day. So because he says the light he called day and the darkness he called night. So I will put night and I will put equal. I will put darkness and I will put equal night. Now I do this. I go through and kind of pick out certain things. Let me give you another example. So after I write the light equals day, the darkness equals night, then I go under that, and when it ends out the verse saying, and then it was evening and then morning the first day. So I will comment on that and put the first day equals the first light, because God called the day light, or in other words, he called the light day. So I just put equals, and I do this because I'm picking apart the verses, what certain words are meaning, why is it written that way, how God is meaning it. So I'm picking things apart. And let me see here, this is in French, by the way, so I was showing it, but you probably, if you don't speak French, you won't know what's going on here. But I read in French and I comment and write things out in French. And then we also have here verse 10. I commented and put, he called the dryness land. So this is what I do. Also, one of the questions that I put in here was, what were the two different lights? Because there was a light he created, and then it goes on to say he created the moon and the sun. So there seems to be two different lights that he created. So, you hear comments about that. If you research it, you see a lot of comments about the light that he created the first time was a different kind of light. The second one was a different kind of light. And so one of the things that I also questioned, even though it seems kind of picky, the thing about anybody who really digs into the Bible, you will notice that there are a lot of hidden things within words in the Bible. So as I'm reading and I see that it says the second day of the third day, then I'm asking myself, okay, if this means light, then I'm saying the first light, the second light, the third light. And if so, what is it saying? Is it saying that this is a matter, a light, a tangible thing that was used to create that particular object? Or is it just saying that the first day is just being the first period, the first span of time? So these are questions that I go through, I ask, and then also after I make all of these comments, I'm writing descriptions of each verse and I'm going through it so that I can know, well, I take this and I meditate on what I wrote. I meditate on the things I've asked. And basically, this is a way for me to ask God to get leading and guidance on understanding of the verses so that I can better understand what he intended to say. Because when it comes to studying the Word of God, we can all study it and we can all get some form of knowledge from it, but without revelation, without the Father revealing what the intent is of the verses, the scriptures, then you just cannot get the full understanding, because that takes God to get that real rich, deep and exact understanding of the word, because we cannot get it on our own. No matter how much school, no matter how much studying, you can't get the true understanding of the word of God, except you get you a nice notebook, you write down your questions, you write down your assessment, and you present it before God so that you can get a better understanding from his mouth, because he's the author and he knows what he put in there. All right, so I hope this video helped. Thank you for watching. God bless.